There's so much negative news on social media regarding Australia, that Australia is closed for migrants, there's no PR possible for skilled people, or even it's closed for students. So today we'll get to know in detail with Victor, and we'll discuss about the migration plan for 2024 and 2025. So if this topic is of any use to you, make sure you keep watching the video till the end, as we will discuss in detail about Australia's migration plan. But before that, a quick introduction about myself. My name is Sarica and welcome to Your Knowledge Buddy. If you want to study in any of this listed country, my team can help you free of cost. What do you have to do? You have to fill the form which is provided in my video description and pin comment, and they will get back to you as soon as possible. So without any further delay, let's get started with today's video by introducing Victor to you guys. Hi Victor, welcome once again to Your Knowledge Buddy, and if you don't mind, can you please introduce yourself to my audience, please?
Thank you very much, Sarica, once again. And my name is Victor. I'm a migration agent for Australia. So today we're going to touch some topics about our beautiful country, Australia.
Thank you. So today's topic is, what is the impact of 2024-25 budget on immigration? What do you know about it so far?
I would like to share my screen and show some figures to our audience so that we can straight away come to the point and they can exactly understand how this budget and the planning, future planning of Australia is impacting their chances of migrating to Australia.
That will be helpful. Thank you.
So, Sarika, if you can see my screen. So today we're going to discuss about the migration program planning levels for 2024 to 2025. So there are good news and bad news. So the good news is 185,000 places have been allocated for the migration program for this year. Main thing which has changed, which is relevant to our audience. So we're going to straight away jump onto that. So if you look at this, the migration program planning levels, how they have changed year to year. Mm-hmm. So the last skill base, which is skilled migration, when people apply with their skills like age, qualification, work experience. We have covered that in our previous video. Mm-hmm. So basically, the settlement factors. Mm-hmm. So I'll repeat again. So they are age, qualifications, work experience, if they have a study in Australia, if they have a professional year, or if they have a qualification in STEM, which is science technology. So basically, what has changed? Skill, if you look at the visa stream, skill base is the main impacted stream. That's why we're going to put more focus and more emphasis on this today. So the visa category of employer sponsored. So employer sponsored are those people, those who already have a job offer from an Australian employer, an acceptable sponsor. So 2023 to 2024 planning levels, the allocated spaces for them was 36,825. So there is shift in that. So now 44,000 seats have been allocated in this year for this stream. And the shocker, which we're going to see now, is the state independent visa, which is subclass 189. And the beauty of 189 skilled visa was the skilled people from offshore, they can claim the points on the basis of the settlement factors, and they were able to apply for the migration, direct PR, without a state nomination and without an employment job offer.
Okay, Victor, can I just ask one question? So employer sponsored. So if I manage to get a job offer in Australia, irrespective of whether I'm in India or in Australia, I will fall under employer sponsored visa category, right?
Yes, you can do that. So there are two options basically. You can be family sponsored or state or employer sponsored. So there are different streams there. So here we're going to talk about employer sponsored. This is what we were covering, is employer sponsored. So regardless of the location,
right,
employer can sponsor an employee. They can apply for this visa, but they will, like, if somebody is sitting offshore. So basically what happens, Sarika, there are two sets of work experience points for Australia. One set of points is for the offshore work experience or the overall work experience, and the other point stream is the Australian work experience. So what we are trying to show here, what immigration is trying to target here, the people, those who already are in Australia, they already have a job offer, they already have Australian work experience, their chances are higher. And more seats have been allocated to those people, basically.
And why do you think they have increased this space now, people with job offer? Why do you think?
If we talk about the reality, Sarika, in Australian job market, jobs are getting scarce, a little bit tightness is there. Scarcity is coming because the main reason is that the migration levels have been really high in the past. A lot of New Zealanders also get an opportunity to move to Australia and work. So that is a big impact on the Australian job market. So that is the reason. If you look at the number 2, which is a skill independent visa, so Australian government is discouraging at the moment. Look at the number, 30,375. From there, it's down to 16,900. So almost half.
Okay.
So what is the indication? What's the message? So these numbers are for us to just interpret and get the message and to share the message with our audience. So the impact which we can see here is it shows very clear preference to people, those who are not going to depend on the government for support for their settlement. So the people who already have a job offer in hand, they are easy to settle down. They can easily support their families. They can easily support their relocation costs. They can easily support their education and their lifestyle. People, those who are skilled independent, earlier also, skilled independent visa was not open to everyone. So there is a particular list and your occupation has to be in the list to apply for the 189 subclass visa. But now with the lower numbers, we were hoping that these numbers will shift towards the state nomination and regional. But the numbers with those who are shifted, they are not big, and they're not as big as a skilled independent. If you look at one, the regional, from 32,300, the places have just gone up to 33,000. State nomination is 30,400 to 33,000. So there is not a big change in the number in the regional areas even. The indication is very clear. We want people to start looking for the job. They have to be skilled enough to be able to get a job opportunity in the struggling job market, basically.
And what's the last one? Business innovation.
Business innovation and investment, Sarica. So business innovation basically is 188 subclass visas in which people can bring their money, they can bring their skills, and they can give a good business plan. How they're gonna set up a business in the areas which is maybe regional areas or maybe metropolitan areas. So both options are available in this visa class as well, like state sponsored, or they can go to the main cities like Melbourne and Sydney, and they can start up the business. So the places for that has gone down from 1900 to 1,000. That is also an indication that they are more there are more chances at the moment. The new businesses, it's getting harder for the new businesses to sustain, to perform, and to maintain their space in the competitive Australian market. It's a very clear indication. So I think people have to start applying for the job opportunities in Australia. And in our next video, we're going to talk about which are the skills where the vacancies are sitting in Australia, and there are less people to take up those jobs.
And thank you, Victor, for explaining that in detail. Can I just ask one question? Because you were focusing on the employer sponsored, and we can see the number has gone up, and we know that the government is putting more priority or giving priority to people who got jobs. So for my audience, if they have to start applying for the job, first of all, where do they apply? Second, how do they know this company are able to sponsor them?
Sarika, basically what happens is in Australia, there is a system called skill assessment. So the first of all, what I would recommend our audience, if they are planning to move to Australia, they need to apply for a skill assessment and they have to appear for an English exam. These are the two basic things I can say which can put them into a priority position in front of a selector or recruiter. So if they already have an English exam, then employer can see or the recruiter can see their English levels. And if their skill assessment is there, then they can evaluate their education and their work experience levels. So these are the two things which I would say I would recommend people to do that. And other thing which they need to keep in mind, up to the age of 45 only you can apply for Australian permanent residency, and above the age of 35 you are not able to apply for a 485, which is subclass 485, which is a post-study work visa. So keep these two things in mind. If you are planning to come to Australia, then you choose your destination accordingly. And major job site, which is the most popular job site in Australia to look for the job, is seek.com.au. So they can go onto that, they can create their profile, they can start getting the job alerts, and over there they can select industry based and they can see which industry is having what number of vacancies available.
Thank you very much, Victor. Can I also ask you one more thing? What services your team provides? Your team is an expert, so can you just tell my audience what are you expert in?
Sarika, what we bring is we have more than a decade of experience, and what we bring is we give them a choice basically in different states. First of all, that's our job, to recommend them that which state is good for their profile, as well as we offer them services in setting up their resumes or even applying for the jobs and basically understanding the skill assessment process. So our team can assist in that, but we cannot guarantee a job or we cannot put you in direct touch with the employer basically.
Yeah.
So that's the job which they have to do themselves because we are a migration agent. So our job is basically administrative role in applying for the visas or the skill assessment. So this is what we do.
Okay, thank you very much for explaining. So the guys who are watching my video, if you need any help from Victor and his team, you can email us on yourknowledgebuddy@gmail.com and I'll put you in touch with Victor and his team. Any final words, Victor, before we wrap today's video?
Sarika, just the one more thing is in this year's migration planning, there are no changes to the family stream. So if any of our audience, if they have family in Australia and or maybe a partner in Australia, like a spouse, and if they are planning to apply, so there is no change for them. So just wanted to make this last inclusion. And that's it. Thank you very much, Sarika, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much for coming and sharing your knowledge as usual. Thank you very much, Victor.